Hello everyone and welcome to the Week 23 edition of Instant Replay, where I give you my take on the most controversial plays of the weekend. I'm Simon Borg. We start in New England, where we saw 2 of the 4 video review instances in Week 23. The first one was used to help determine if a clear and obvious error was made when the referee Ismail Elfath awarded a set piece outside the box for this shove by Vancouver's Tim Parker, which occurred right on the edge of the area. Now, Elfath originally whistled for a foul outside the box, and after the video review, he upheld that call, just moved it slightly toward the box. But to my eyes, that foul looked like it was committed inside the box and deserving of the penalty. And that just goes to show you, even with video review, there's still the element of judgment with many of these calls. Elfath went back to the monitor with about 10 minutes remaining to see if he potentially committed a clear and obvious error by not awarding a red card for this Xavier Kouassi foul on Jordi Reina. Elfath called the original foul but did not show any cards, and after video review, his on-field decision stood. Although we don't get a different look on the broadcast, Elfath and the video assistant referee obviously did. And it's worth pointing out how this video review occurred after play had already restarted, which typically is not allowed except in cases of violent conduct or serious foul play, and that was the situation here, although there was not sufficient evidence for the refs to brandish the red card. But I did think there should have been a red card in this match when New England's Javon Watson sticks his foot out and makes contact with the head of goalkeeper Stefan Marinovic, who was making his MLS debut. Why is this egregious to me? It's because the goalkeeper is in possession of the ball and Watson is way late in trying to make an attempt to challenge. And even though it's not a violent kick from Watson, that still amounts to serious foul play in my book because he endangers the safety of the keeper by nicking his head. But Elfath calls for the foul and does not issue any cards to Watson. There was a lot more force when Sporting Kansas City debutant James Musa sent this bicycle kick into Seattle defender Roman Torres. Musa misses the ball by a foot or two, and some wanted a red card shown here. And I do think it's really a borderline play because it's not even a 50-50 ball. Nonetheless, on this one, I'm with referee Baldomero Toledo, who shows him the yellow for reckless play. To me, this is still more clumsy than it is endangering the safety. The Sounders would win the match on this lone goal by Clint Dempsey, but the argument was made as to whether a potential Jordan Morris offside seconds earlier should have negated the goal. Well, first, even if you think it's an offside, it did not technically occur in the attacking phase of play leading up to the goal, so it's not subject to video review. Remember, the attacking phase of play, as determined by the head referee, is when the attacking move starts towards the opposition's penalty area leading up to the match-changing incident, in this case the goal. But who are we kidding? Morris wasn't even offside. Check out the freeze frame for yourself. Great job by the bedside assistant, Eduardo Mariscal. Referee Drew Fisher made a great decision by not calling a penalty at RFK Stadium. It's the 50th minute and DC are on the attack. And I agree with Fisher that no way is this a foul on DC's Patrick Mullins, as RSL center back Marcelo Silva wins the ball cleanly. Referee Ricardo Salazar also did well not to point to the spot in the first half in Houston. San Jose's Nick Lima does nothing illegal here. That's a fair shoulder to shoulder and nothing is called. Excellent decision by Salazar. And Salazar read the play perfectly once again in the 39th minute when he shows Houston's Alberto Ellis a yellow for embellishment. In my opinion, the Honduran striker was the one seeking out the contact. And I thought Ellis could have seen a second yellow in the 79th minute for a case of simulation. But Salazar keeps this card in his pocket and Ellis stays in the game and goes on to assist on Houston's second goal to ice the win. But the most talked about play from this game came 2 minutes after halftime when Salazar points to the spot for a Houston penalty after this Andres Imperiale foul on Houston's Eric El Cubo Torres. But here's the big debate. Was that foul, denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, a dog so red or a dog so yellow? And the question that's asked is, did Imperiale try to make a play on the ball? I think he's not making a play on the ball, which is why I agreed with Salazar when he pulled out the red for Imperiale, and the player doesn't even protest. But then seconds later, Salazar consults with his assistant, Jeffrey Greason, and the decision is changed to a caution card without the use of video review. Goalkeeper Andrew Tarbell would eventually save the penalty too, so the Quakes somehow emerged unscathed from the whole thing. We saw another case of simulation in Columbus where Justin Merrim earned a yellow for a dive, and that's a great spot by referee Armando Villarreal, who also called a late penalty in favor of Crew SC in the 87th minute. And the goalkeeper typically gets the call in these spots when he gets a finger on the ball, which Chicago's Matt Lampson does here. But I agree with Villarreal that Lampson goes through Ola Kamara to do it. And this is not even a 50-50 ball. Kamara is in possession. So for me, that's a great call, and Kamara converts himself to seal the 3-1 win. We saw another instance of simulation at Toyota Stadium, where FC Dallas midfielder Kellen Acosta got a yellow from referee Alan Kelly. And on replay, replay, it's tough to spot any contact. And I also couldn't spot the contact that the Rapids say caused Dominic Badji to fall in the box in the 31st minute. After the match, Mastroeni said he wanted a penalty in this spot, but especially based on this goal line replay, I felt Dallas defender Atiba Harris actually played the ball cleanly. No penalty was the right call for me. Credit to Kelly, that was a real tough one to spot. The match finished 0-0, but FC Dallas thought they had scored just before halftime when Maxi Urruti hit the back of the net, but referee Alan Kelly would wave this one off after a video review, and this is a great decision for me because there is a foul in the moment the attacking phase of play starts, and it wasn't originally spotted by Kelly. That is definitely a foul by Harris on Badji. You see Harris steps on Badji and pushes him from behind as he's playing the ball. And because the failure to call it amounted to a clear and obvious error during the attacking phase of play leading up to a match-changing incident, video review was correctly used to call it back. And it's bad luck for Urruti, who you remember had this goal negated last week for another foul in the attacking phase, this kick into the goalkeeper by teammate Christian Colman. The stop-up center, where it was 0-0 when NYCFC's Alexander Callens fouls LA's Romain Alessandrini, who's heading in on goal. What's so interesting about this play? It comes just 3 minutes after Callens received a yellow card, and I'd argue that he should have seen a second yellow for stopping a promising attack when he leans into Alessandrini. Referee Robert Sabiga opts against it, and remember, second yellows are not reviewable. We had another potential second yellow card situation involving a Galaxy player in the second half. LA's Jermaine Jones kicks David Villa in the back of the leg here, but I think that's just careless by Jones and doesn't rise to the reckless standard. So no yellow was the right call for me. And did NYCFC's Alexander Ring deserve more than a yellow card for this foul on LA's Pele Van Aanholt? He got a yellow from Sabiga, and I agree. Ring is not leading with the elbow, and there's not enough force to make it serious foul play. Referee Rubiel Vasquez and his crew had a clean match in Philly, but Jorge Gonzalez sure had a busier time of it at Red Bull Arena. We start in the 29th minute when New York's Sasha Kljestan complains of a hand to the eye from new Orlando City midfielder Yoshimar Yotun. And when we watch the replay here, that does look like a flick of the hand by Yotun, and it's off the ball. While some would likely argue that the force used there is negligible, I disagree. For my money, that classifies as violent conduct punishable by a red card. To me, Yotun deliberately strikes Kljestan in the face with his hand, and there's no place in the game for that stuff. Some wanted Orlando's Christian Higuita to get the red card treatment for his hands to the neck, as Higuita gets between teammate Richie Laria and Kljestan. But I think Higuita's just pushing both players back. Nothing there. And in fact, it's Kljestan and Laria who wind up with the yellow cards. And the hands to the face theme would prove especially controversial at the very end of the match. Tensions were high during a bit of a dust-up when Orlando captain Kaka puts his hands all over the face of former Orlando teammate Aurelien Collin. Referee Jorge Gonzalez spots it during a video review of the confrontation, and after showing a yellow card to two of the players involved, he pulls out the red card for Kaka. And while some are still arguing that the referee should have taken into account that Kaka was only fooling around with his buddy, I think the referee was in the right. Hands to the face is hands to the face, and you see Gonzalez explaining that to Collin. Look, the last thing we need to throw on referees is to figure out what's horseplay and what's not. And we end in Toronto, where at 0-0, the Timbers wanted a penalty kick when Darren Maddox goes down in the box. But I think this is a great spot by referee Kevin Stott, who notices that it's Maddox who throws himself to the ground and makes a meal of this. Although that right arm of defender Eric Zavaleta might slightly impede his progress, I really didn't think there was enough to call a foul. And the video assistant referee, who has access to the replays, didn't deem this one to be a clear and obvious error either. Stott was forced to go to his pocket in the second half to show a yellow card to Toronto star Sebastian Giovinco, who was angry that a foul was called against him, and he kicks the ball away and gets cautioned for it. But he was really pushing his luck when he applauds the referee for showing him the yellow, and that's typically seen as showing up the ref. I would have been okay with a second yellow in quick succession there, but Stott either doesn't see the clap or decides to ignore it, and the match was still 0-0 at that point. Toronto would win the match 4-1, and the best of the bunch may have been this goal by Justin Morrow. But when you watch it in real time, you immediately wonder, hey, was there an offside somewhere in there, given 3 Toronto players are behind the last defender? Give it another watch. Josie Altidore and the goal scorer, Justin Morrow, are definitely in an offside position in the moment the pass comes through from Giovinco. But when Portland defender Laris Mabiala, the number 33, when he attempts to play the ball, that negates the offside. Excellent job by the officials on that one. What did you think of the plays this week? Let us know in the comments. As for us, that's all we have for now. Until next week, for our editor Rich Hernandez, I'm Simon Borg. See you next time!